to our sister church, there is something they do. They mold Jesus, the person of Jesus. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
They mold the person of Mary. They have the picture of the person of Jesus, and they have the picture of the person of what? Mary. Assumed. They assumed Jesus and Mary. Are you with me?
Yes.
Good. Now, what does it mean? They are trying to say that this is this one, and this is that one. So, image is a representation of a person or a thing in pictorial form or in statue form. So the first formation of a man, or the first making of a man, was the making of a statue. Now, note that a statue does not move. A statue does not breathe. A statue is unresponsive. A statue cannot respond to the events happening around. Genesis chapter number 2 and verse 7. God formed the man from the dust of the earth. The man became a statue. This is the first formation of a man, the first making of a man. Because when a man is dead and is laid in state, whatever you like to do to the person will not respond. That is the original formation, the first formation of a man. The first formation of a man is that he was made and cannot move. Just as an image. So God said, okay, this is how we are looking like. We have eyes, we have nose, we have mouth, we have ears, we have hands and chest and every other thing. So let us replicate this thing as we are like this with the dust. So are you understanding what I'm saying? Yes. So God replicated and the man became this way. First, he was not a living being. He was just a statue. The Bible said, and God breathed into the nostrils of the man the breath of life. So what happened? The breath which God deposited now made this statue to start moving. So when the man got the breath, he stood up. Give me your hand. He stood up. So now the man is standing. He's sitting. Sorry. Pause. The man is sitting. Is that not true? Yeah. At this point, the man has begun to move, but he's not responding to the things that is happening around him. He's just there. Moping. God formed the man statue, breathed into him. The man got life, moved, sat up. Now the Bible said, and the man became a living soul, which means the responsive points of a man became active. That I will say, hey, the man looks at me. He's now responding. Which implies that the soul is the consciousness of a man on the activities that are happening around him. Now watch this. I'm going to say this again. Somebody can be very sick, still breathing, but doesn't know what is happening around him. So what has happened? The soul of the man has gone dead. Is the man breathing? Yes. Is he assumed to be alive? Yes. But is the man being responsive? No. Why? Because the consciousness of the man is dead. That is, the soul of a man has now died. I am the body. He is the soul. He is the spirit. Watch. The soul is what you see as what? Conscience. So you begin to say, my mind told me. It was not actually your mind does not know anything. No. It is the spirit that is giving the mind the information he is giving to the body. And do you know what the funniest part of this whole thing? When a man dies, when this body dies, the body returns to the sand where it came from. This body has no part to suffer. Check it. When a man dies, this body has nothing to suffer. This thing does not feel anything. It has nothing. It will return to the dust. It will return as it used to be. So the body has nothing to suffer. Do you know the people that will not start suffering? These two. So watch what happens to a man. The body will make you sin. Huh? And at the end of the day, it will go and will not suffer. These two will start suffering. The only time the flesh has the ability to have a feeling is when the spirit and the soul is still active inside of it. So when you put fire, the body will react to it. But once these two are gone out of this place, this thing has nothing. So this is a thing that has no impact in your life. So why would you kill? Why will you destroy these two in the eternity because of this thing? So this is the mind. This is your conscience. So whenever you hear that the conscience of a man is dead, know that there is no more availability of this. So the spirit can no more communicate to the body. What is happening is that the body is now living on its own. Are you understanding? Yes. The body is now living, and the spirit that is in the body is now helpless because there is no soul to convey the message to this body. So see what the devil does. The devil ties down the mind of a man. The Bible said, for the God of this earth has blinded their eyes of understanding, that they may not see the light in the glorious gospel. So what the devil does is that he ties the mind, so that even if the spirit is communicating to the mind on what the body should do, this one will be in captivity. So what the devil is doing is that the devil will be the one feeding this mind, and this mind will be feeding this body. This spirit remains helpless. Inasmuch as this spirit will be judged, this soul also will be judged. And funny enough, this soul is found here. So as God is depositing this spirit into the body, the soul is following the spirit into the body. And when the spirit will be living, the soul will live with it. So they are too attached to each other that they cannot leave each other. But this body is separate. Don't satisfy the flesh to condemn these two for eternity. Every activity of this body is centered on this. Are you with me? Yes. Okay, now have you read the book of Proverbs chapter 4 before? I think verse 25, if I'm not mistaken, 24, 25. The Bible said, guide your heart. This is the heart, this is the mind. Guide your heart with all diligence. For out of this one are the issues of life. So it is what this one receives that this one will do. Paul now said, if you want to think of anything in the book of Philippians, he said, all those things which are good, all those things which are lovely, all those things which are of good report, if there be any virtue, think on all these things. Because as you are thinking on it, that is how this one will respond. Can I tell you the truth? So long as you remain in this body, sin will always pop up. But the consciousness of your actions matters a lot. That was why David said, it is one thing for a man to sin, and another thing for him to know that he has sinned. That when he asks God for mercy, God will do what? Will respond. I will say it and I will still say it. All these pastors that will come and say, I have not sinned. I'm this. Yes, you may not have fornicated, though. I agree with you. No problem. You may not have committed adultery. Bless you. You may not have done stealing or killing or anything. God bless you. But there is another sin called the pride of heart. I try as much as I can not to tell stories that are fake on the altar. Do you know ministers tell fake stories? They will tell you what they did and what they did not do. Accept that you are a human, you always sin. Accept. Just accept it. Even John, in the book of 1 John chapter number 1, he said, if you say you are no sinner, you deceive yourself. It is yourself that you are deceiving. You are a sinner. But the point is, agree on which angle you are sinning and try to work on it. Beg God. Do you know what St. Paul said in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter number 12? He said, there is a stranger in me. And because of this stranger, I besought the Lord. How many times? 3 times. That it might depart. What did the Bible say? God now said, my grace is sufficient. And my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Because he knows every man, so long as you live in this body, you have a weakness. Maybe your weakness is anger. It's another part of sin. Little foxes. Songs of Solomon chapter number 2. Little foxes that spoils the vine. People are not seeing little. They think that the only sin that a man can commit is the sin of fornication, adultery, stealing, killing, and all the rest of them. They are not seeing those little foxes. Keeping of malice, little foxes. Anger, little foxes. Backbiting, little foxes. All those pride of heart, envy, jealousy. These are little foxes. So all those your tiny lies, little foxes. So what the Spirit does is that when this body begins to overstep the boundary, he talks to this consciousness. The conscience, you will not say my conscience is judging me. He has discovered. I said whatever this flesh wants to do, the Spirit is aware. So he has seen it. Because the Spirit does not act as this flesh acts. That is why you can capture what will happen in your life in the next tomorrow. Because the Spirit is active. The Spirit collects the things that are in the before. Your flesh is trapped in the now and in the previous. Your spirit goes before. So in your dream, your spirit captures and comes to your consciousness. Your consciousness tells your body, you start praying. Right? So whenever you want to move astray, the spirit quickly tells this conscience. Conscience comes and tells you, you will not start fighting with your conscience. The flesh wants to take over. Conscience is telling you, the spirit says no. You say no. Conscience is telling you, the spirit says no. You say no. If the conscience overcomes you by the help of the spirit, you are good, you will not sin again. But if the flesh overcomes the conscience will remain quiet until you finish what you are doing. It will not speak. Because at that point it was speaking, you did not listen. It will not speak again until you finish. It is when you now finish and you are done, you are seated on your own, it will now come back and say, I told you. That thing you did. Do you know? You will now go down and say, God. Listen, the battle of the flesh. The Bible said the spirit warred after the flesh and the flesh after the spirit. Because they want to know. They want the. See their battle. Their battle is who will win this one. Who will get this one, the mind. So if the spirit wins the mind, everything that the body will be doing will be regulated by the spirit, because it is the spirit that will be feeding the conscience on what this body will be doing. But if the body wins this one, it is the flesh that will be regulating this one. So the flesh wants to eat indomie. This one wants to do, and the flesh says it's a lie. So this one will shut up. This one is now under captivity. So anytime this one wants to come up, the flesh will say, come. This one will go back. under captivity. So when Satan wants to take over a man, he's not after this one. The spirit is not his business. His business is what? The mind. So he captures the mind. So when you want to do this conscience, because he has learned from this one, this conscience now wants to rise. Satan will say, sit down. This one now will not tell the body, just do it now. Nothing will happen. Now the Bible said, train up a child in the way. Watch this, watch this. As the child is growing, two things are growing: the spirit of the child and the conscience of the child. It is what is trapped into the spirit of the child that the conscience will live with. The Bible said, but when he is old, he will not depart from this way. Why? Because everything about the conscience of the child has been trapped by the teachings that has been embezzled in the spirit. Rest your feet.